Hello, YouTube family. How you doing? This is a pleasant surprise. Of course, this is Kofi Baraka, the militant genius, and right now you're in another great episode of Kofi Baraka's World. Of course, season 2, and this is episode number 8, and this episode is entitled "Hospitals Are Not for Us." Once again, hospitals are not for us. Now, I'm going to say this early on this episode that if you're using the hospital for an emergency, if you get hit by a fucking car or you fall off a bridge or if you break something like really like break something at night, or if you got an eye, your eye is actually coming out your socket, then naturally use these hospitals. But if it's something like a cold or allergies, try to take care of yourself. Unless it's a child. If it's a child, of course, a pediatrician, etc., etc. I'm strictly talking about adults. If you want to have it for your children down the line, naturally you can take an ear, But of course, we're going to do a quick prayer, and we always know God's first. So, God, thank you for this time. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the star seeds. Thank you for the chosen ones. And thank you for this time. Keep our energy right and positive, and keep the electricity flowing. Amira, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Thank you, God. All right. So the first point is basically our origins. Now, I believe that we are Aborigines in this country. So American Aborigines or whatever. And back in the time, if you want to think you're from Africa or if you want to think you're from America, they use the same practice. So except using hospitals, you had herb doctors, and of course when you actually had to have children, you had midwives, or I like to call them mid-queens. And you normally had 3 queens, trace queens. So in some cases, you might have the old man in town that had a medical background or had medical interests, and he did some of the practices in terms of having the babies. And in some other cases, you know what I mean? In some cases, you had the medical doctor or the male doctor or whoever, that sometimes they'll be named after them and things of that sort. And they'll bring presents and stuff like that for the child, for the mom, for the father, the whole family, etc., etc. And of course, there was no crazy fluorescent lights. There was no crazy instruments, no drugs, multiple spirits and souls around the baby for the first encounter. And then also no agendas. And I say no agendas. See my rabbit ears? No agendas. A lot of times the midwives lived in the neighborhood that you lived in. A lot of times they were your peers. In some cases, they might have been the peers of your parents or your grandparents. I say that to say that they knew your family knew their families, and it was like a clan, you know what I mean? It was a nice group or a nice cluster of people together, like a village. And you basically had either a peer relationship or you had the little sister, big sister relationship or mother figure relationship with the midwives. Some of the oldest women were midwives. They might have been like 100 years old, still working, still midwifing, you know what I mean? And when you have midwives, be careful, especially present day. Make sure they're credible. Make sure they have a physical portfolio in terms of photograph portfolio of them in action, at least delivering the babies, seeing the post and the pre-operations in terms of having a baby. Also, make sure they're not no scammers. Make sure that they're gonna do their job. Shit, have a contract with them. Say, hey, you can have your money now, have your money when you deliver the baby. You know what I mean? And make sure they're credible. Do your research on them too. All right. And make sure, like I said, make sure they're not connected to a hospital either. Because what they might do is, hey, you get close to the time, let's go to the hospital. No, motherfucker, I order a midwife. If I order a Burger King, you better not give me no after treaters. Or you better not give me no fucking Wendy's. You supposed to give me what I want. Point blank. Of course, hospitals equals mistreatment if you depend on them. You know, unless it's like I said, emergency, something life or death. All right. So basically, if you want to stay away from the hospital, keep your spirit right. If you keep your spirit right, you won't have broken bones. You won't have no crazy ailments or illnesses. You won't need no medication. You will have an organic diet because they're going to put you on a good diet anyway. You know what I mean? They're not going to make you worse in the hospital. Of course, when you're in the hospital, my biggest thing is don't be in an experiment. Definitely don't be a victim. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this in no connection because she's a hero and an icon in our community and other communities too. But Henrietta Lacks, you know, Tuskegee Experiment, those brothers, the 1960s birth control with those young queens, you know what I mean? And then the after effect of the queens that had queens in terms of psychologically to make sure they're okay because that was the whole plan. So, you know, just thinking about that, like, I don't want to be in an experiment. I damn sure don't want to be a victim. I just want peace. I'm just reading my notes. And of course, my third point is you got to treat yourself. So this one I always say within all the episodes, you self-improvement, you know, exercise, earn a sweat. Like you should exercise at least an hour a day if you have time to do so. If you can't fit an hour, do a quick 30. You know what I mean? Gotta exercise. If you can't exercise, man, you gotta sweat. Go to a sauna, go to a touch-free gym, something, man. I mean, like you gotta sweat, man. You gotta sweat it out. If you're in a hot climate area, just go outside and just sweat it out. Lay on the grass if it's 90 degrees, just sweat it out. Have some water with you. You know what I mean? Of course, meditation, yoga. Organic food. I can't stress that enough. I know I say it every episode, but I want to just keep pushing it. That's my agenda. You know what I mean? No high fructose food in terms of no high fructose corn syrup. No pharmaceuticals for yourself. You know, have a vitamin. Start having a stress-free life. No vibrational people, cut them out. I always say it's every episode, fast, have a practice of fasting, of course libation if you can in the morning time, crystal baths, have some crystals around the house and with you, salt baths. I did a salt bath earlier today, grounding, especially while there's no snow on the ground. Get your grounding in. I did some grounding yesterday. Read, research, of course, no fap when you can, no pornography when you can, of course, staying positive if you can, mentally and spiritually, you know, just being at peace. And of course, my solution is real easy. Stay away from the fucking hospitals. Not for no small shit. And not for us. I don't want to get too deep. But we got a lot to offer, especially in terms of our physiology. So it's like having a diamond. You're not going to show your diamond to 100,000 jewelers. You're going to show maybe 1-2 person or 1-2 people, excuse me, like maybe every 2 decades or so, just to make sure the value's good. The same with your body. You might have a checkup. You might want to make sure everything's cool, man. But let's make sure you're your own doctor. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're your own lawyer. Sometimes you're your own businessman. You're your own tax official, you know what I mean, or officer. You know, you're your own protector in terms of security. You know, why not be the same? Even with spirituality too, you know what I mean? And you're your own politician, you're your own police, you know, so why not do the same in this field? Especially with the hospitals. A lot of times back in the day, we went to hospitals just for that birth certificate. And if you can get that now anyway, why go through the process? I'm talking about in the 50s, in the 60s and 70s. Also, they use for passports and stuff like that. But it's like to know what they're doing, the side effect of going to a hospital. You know, and people say, oh, I go to a white hospital, I go to a good hospital. You know, you're going to get fucked up one way or another. You know what I mean? And it's just like, this is just my fair warning, you know what I mean, as just a messenger, you know, for chosen ones. You know what I mean? So, of course, this is the end. Ashe, 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 like I always say, of episode number 8, season 2. This was a cool one too, man. I love you guys as always, you know what I mean? And of course, we're number one. Our God is number one. And the journey's not done. Chosen ones, of course, have peace and healing. And just have a phenomenal week. Thank you for tuning in. You know what to do. If you like it, of course, subscribe. And hit the notification bell if you want new or prior videos. And of course, chosen ones as well. Have a clean, righteous week. Keep your third eye open. You know what I mean? Blink at the sun a couple of times. Drink some good alkaline water. You know what I mean? Watch something positive. Be with your children. You know what I mean? Also give alms. You know what I mean? Give alms. Give to someone that don't have as much as you. If they're in dire need or if they just look like they're in need. You know what I mean? People call them homeless. Give to people that don't have shelter in a permanent, you know, stance. You know what I mean? Also give to those that are, you know, are not as fortunate as you. You know, if you can. It's just, you know, you don't have to give a lot. If you want to give a lot, you can. If you want to give a little, you can. You want to give a medium size, you can. Just give what God put in your heart, you know what I mean? But we got to do this. We got to do this, especially around this time. That goes with the treat yourself, you know what I mean? So definitely give to people of need, you know what I mean? Just do it, man. My name is Kofi Baraka. Of course, this is Kofi Baraka'sWorld. I love you. Peace.